Ah, was there anything that shocked you in the NFL 2022 to 23 season? Well, it was a few things that shocked us. So find out on this episode of the SBS. What it do, YouTube? It is the SBS, the Super Biased Sports Show, a place where a fan can be a fan, no matter how biased their take is. I'm one of your dope hosts, B Rob, aka the AFC North champion, and I'm here with a bunch of dope other guys. I'm gonna go ahead and let them introduce themselves.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy T Time here. Forget week 18. Let's get these playoffs rolling.
Hey, it's your boy Pedro. Bills Mafia, put your threes up. NFL better watch out. Bills is coming.
It's your boy the Bonnie. Y'all already know the underdogs. Ho, ho, ho. Giants.
Oh my god! I ain't gonna lie, man. You threw me off with that one, but listen, every dog can get tamed, all right? So you need to watch out. All right? You're a little wild now. Well, look, other than this character's wild outburst, we're gonna talk about today some of our biggest surprises of the 2022 NFL season, and we want you guys' thoughts below as well. So make sure you guys comment. We're gonna kick this off with my boy Pedro, Bills Mafia. Go ahead, let us know what surprised you, what shocked you this year.
So for me, the NFC West shocked the heck out of me. Let's just starting from last season. They the Rams, Super Bowl champs. No one expected them to finish 5-12. And I get it that their quarterback got hurt, but it just seemed like a complete dismantle of the Super Bowl champs. And that the 49ers, what surprised me about them was this. They have this, we saw a little bit of it last year, so it's not a huge surprise, but they have this plug-and-play offense. Last year was with the running backs. This year, quarterbacks. It seems like it doesn't matter who they put in. Probably the Bonnet could be in as running back, and somehow he'll get yards.
There comes.
Seattle with Geno Smith. Especially being a Bills fan and in the AFC East, we thought he was dead long time ago, and he came back to life. And last but not least, Arizona. There was a little turmoil that they had, but they did sign quite a few acquisitions like Hollywood Brown and all those guys, and it just never ended up clicking. I wouldn't be surprised if Cliff is gone next season. So those were that was my biggest surprise.
Yeah, I definitely say to piggyback off of what the Geno Smith thing, man. You know, he broke Russell Wilson's single season passing yard record. So Geno Smith looked like the franchise quarterback, although they might be drafting one, but then again they might not be because they are picking later in the draft now. So they might be rolling with Geno next year.
Let's see it.
Yeah, it's not a bad move.
Mm-hmm.
What you got? What you got, Bonnet?
As far as me, one of the biggest surprises, they let Russ cook, and he didn't cook nothing. That man brought an empty plate of nothing. Paid that man all that money and delivered nothing. Like, that was, I think that was the biggest surprise for me out of this whole season. Out of this whole season, that was the biggest surprise for me. The second one, I could go so many different ways, but gotta go to my Giants, man. Gotta go to my Giants. Nobody had us in the playoffs. Nobody had us nowhere in the playoffs. Period. Point blank. And what did we do? Continue to do what we got to do. I'm telling you, we underdogs. It has happened before. That's all I ain't gonna say the number, but I just throw them up. That's all.
Wait till after next week. Wait till after next week. Y'all won't be in the playoffs, so don't matter.
Look, I will say this, man. Y'all started off the season hot. from beating the Titans, I was like, okay, maybe that was a fluke. But then y'all went on a little win streak, and I was like,
6 and
okay,
1.
you
We
know,
started 6 and 1.
I'm like the Giants. All right. I mean, when they gonna fumble the bag, but I mean, y'all held on to y'all in the playoffs. So shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all, boy.
Yeah. No, I
Feels
mean,
good.
yeah. Congratulations, man. Y'all made it. Nothing wrong with it.
Sincerity in his voice.
I mean,
Yo, it sounds so unpure. Like
Right.
Sounds like pure hate, but it's all right.
y'all know me.
We
Y'all
lost
know
to
one
them
thing about
twice.
me.
We lost the
I ain't a
Eagles
hater.
twice. But that has happened before. And what happened that season? But I ain't gonna say nothing though. I ain't gonna say nothing.
Listen, one thing about me, y'all know I don't hate. If you make it, you make it. I respect it. So, that's a surprise though, because I had y'all fourth in the division. So
It's not a surprise to me, but it's a surprise to a lot of other people. Because I've said it from the beginning, before the season started, that we're making the playoffs. I've been said that.
All right, T-Tom. So on to more important things. What surprised you? What are some of your surprises that you have for this NFL season 2022?
So it seems like people were trying to steal people's topics, but it's all good. Mine was the AFC West. The offseason came and that division went stupid. Like they just were, I mean, all of them were making power moves. And honestly, what the NFC East turned out to be is what everybody thought the AFC West was going to be, which
That's a
could have
fact.
potentially had all four teams from that division in the playoffs. And they really just surprised. Just a real quick projection that I saw without digging too deep. I mean, they had Kansas City at 11-6. They had the Chargers at 11-6. Then they had the Broncos at 10-7 and the Raiders at 9-8. And we see how that ended up. Kansas City is 14-3, which I've always figured. I didn't think Kansas City would drop off. I didn't think the Tyreek loss was big for them. Like, I mean, they made that decision, right? Like, if they wanted to keep him, they would have paid him. They didn't want to keep him, which is why he's gone. I always just it's to me, it's always been Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce. So that part didn't surprise me, but the Chargers, that surprised me. With them only being 10-7, I thought they would have at least been a 12-win team with the way that they look, but they did have some early injuries. And then these last two are the ones that really got me. I thought Raiders would have been a lot more competitive this year with picking up Adams. Like, you pick up the NFL's best wide receiver
Literally.
to go with that team. I don't see how they ended up being 6-11. And then Broncos country. Russ said, "Let's ride," and he drove them right into a ditch. Like, and I don't know who you blame. If you blame Russ, if you blame Hackett, since Hackett's been gone, they have looked like a completely different team. But overall, that division outside of Kansas City, I would say, has been a disappointment. I mean, yeah, the Chargers made the playoffs, but for a division that was projected that most people, thought all four of them could have made it into the playoffs. Because, I mean, think about it. The Broncos were in the Super Bowl conversation, not just playoffs. Like, they said if the Broncos got, Russ, they were a quarterback away. And it seems like he set them back, like, drastically. So, that's pretty big. But that's where I'm at on it. I'm surprised at that overall.
Yeah, I will say, Russ, he said, "Let's ride." They rode the gutter. Did not hit any strikes or any pens. So yeah, and that Chargers, man, the Chargers look like the most stacked team on paper going into this season, and it just shows you that the game is played on the field, not paper.
Yeah.
But if I was to give my biggest surprise before we wrap this thing up, my biggest surprise would actually be one Patrick Mahomes throwing over for 5,000 yards with no Tyreek Hill, with a season that had many games without Mecole Hardman. They acquired Kadarius Toney. He played one game and then got injured for a few games. And then really just to put on with Sky Moore, Juju, and Travis Kelce, I feel like that's a big feat in itself. We all know Patrick Mahomes' talents is, otherworldly when it comes to playing quarterback, but we just did not expect for him to have an MVP type season without Tyreek Hill. And then if I was right before I close it up, my last surprise would be the Jaguars, man. I always predicted that next season they would win the division, and at one point in the season they were 4-8, and they're actually one of the 3 teams in the NFL history to actually reach the playoffs with having a 4-8 record at some point in the season. And not only did they win, make it to the playoffs, they actually won the division, which I feel like is surprising in itself. So big shout out to Duval County. Y'all know how I feel about Duval. You guys seen our previous videos, man. I'm rocking with y'all just because, it's good. I like to see franchises turn around from, turmoil. So, yeah. I mean,
they finished with a 5-game win streak.
Yeah. Like they going into the playoffs hot. It's at least, I want to say, it's at least 3 teams in the AFC that's going into the playoffs right now with at least 5-game win streaks. Like, so it's gonna be a spectacle, man. It's gonna be a spectacle. But thank you everybody for tuning in to this episode of the SBS. Make sure you guys comment down below. Let us know what is your biggest surprise of the NFL season. If you like Pedro, he wanted to talk about Gabe Davis, but we're not gonna talk about Gabe Davis because the season is not over. He still got time to prove himself. All right. So look,
I hope so.
Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We're going to catch you on the next video.